Speaking of out-of-control cows, the top Karen in Congress, Marjorie Taylor Greene, has...
I don't usually support
adult bullying.
but I mean,
Marjorie Taylor Greene
can be annoying.
I know the fear that these kids have.
And yet, I still ambushed this teenager and loudly called him names because I am a monster.
I also want to tell you 9/11 absolutely happened. I remember that day crying all day long watching it on the news.
All right, well, so at least now we know 9/11 happened. Can you imagine having to go in front of the House of Representatives to say 9/11 happened? Yeah, we know it happened. You're the crazy one, not us. Nowadays, Sarah Palin, she seems downright quaint compared to the monsters that are in the House, like Marjorie Taylor Greene. This woman, Klan mom, is especially upset with the 3 Republican senators who said they'll vote yes on Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, who's nominated for the Supreme Court. She tweeted, Murkowski, Collins, and Romney are pro-pedophile. They just voted for KBJ. Wow, where is Will Smith when you really need him, huh?
Will we allow the media that is just as guilty as QAnon of presenting truth and lies to divide us?
That's right. The woman who started impeachment proceedings against Joe Biden the day he took office is calling for unity now. The congresswoman who wants to execute Nancy Pelosi is right. We need to come together, and the media is just as guilty as QAnon. That's like saying Jell-O is just as guilty as Bill Cosby. It's nonsense. Boy, when Marjorie Taylor Greene hears about this, potato heads are gonna roll. The frontrunner for Worst Human of 21 is working to defeat the Equality Act right now. This is an act that would ban discrimination against Americans based on sexual orientation or gender identity. And this is Marie Newman. She works across the hall from Klan Mom. Her daughter happens to be transgender, so she decided to put up a flag outside her office to support her child.
And we are very offended at your constant attacks on us for claiming we had anything to do with it. So that needs to stop.
Oh, my God, we got a Karen in Congress now. She's so awful. Marjorie could not let this go. She had to respond by putting up a sign outside her office that said there are 2 genders, male and female. Trust the science. Now she trusts the science. Disgusting. This woman is good pals with Matt Gaetz, who is currently under investigation for trafficking minors for sex. It's scum and scummer. It's...
People. He lied to President Trump and told him millions of people would die, when in fact he knew and stated in his own emails that several 100,000 people would die.
Was she hoping for more? What's going on? How about instead of a Fire Fauci Act, we pass a Fire Marjorie Taylor Greene out of a Cannon Act? Over the have obnoxious sayings on them. It's like if QAnon made fortune cookies, but they're masked. And it's amazing that this woman has 3 names. None of them are Karen, because she is exactly the kind of person you'd want to cover her mouth, even if there wasn't a pandemic going on. She said, I'm taking a stand on the House floor because I don't want the people to stand alone. They're not standing alone. They just don't want to stand next to you.
Everything is completely out of control. Not only do we have the D.C. jail, which is the D.C. gulag, but now we have Nancy Pelosi's gazpacho police.
That's right. If you got cold soup, you better watch it, because Nancy Pelosi's coming for it. These must be the soup Nazis Seinfeld warned us about so many years. And if the gazpacho police get hold of you, they'll throw you right in the goulash. So be very careful. Speaking of human excrement, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene did something unusual. Something unusual for her. She apologized. You remember last month when she compared Congresspeople having to wear masks to the House to Jews having to wear the Star of David during the Holocaust? Well, yesterday, Klan Mom paid a visit to the Holocaust Museum in D.C., and I guess the field trip did some good because she apologized.
The horrors of the Holocaust are so...
Garbagey Taylor Greene was outside complaining that the criminals who broke into the Capitol are being treated like criminals.
Do you want to know how they're treated? I'll tell you what I saw. I saw men in that D.C. jail that hadn't had a haircut, couldn't shave. They were filthy, dirty, and disgusting.
Oh, well, then you have something in common. I can see where you... And then... what a little education could do. She now knows as much about the Holocaust as every sixth grader in Washington, D.C. Quick, build a climate change museum, too. But the important thing here is that Marjorie Taylor Greene said she's sorry, and she is sorry. She might be the sorriest excuse for a congresswoman we've ever had. Next, she's planning a visit to the National Air and Jewish Space Laser Museum. Meanwhile, I had a whole thing with Marjorie Taylor Greene and the Temple of Dumb this weekend. You know, you may have heard the Congress monster was not happy about a comment I made about her on the show. She even called the cops on me. She wants me, she would like arrested, but the people who attacked the Capitol, it's time to drop that already. Garbage person Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia has been trying to pin some of the blame in her way on those who support the LGBTQ plus community.
Salvador Ramos, who was Hispanic, clearly had a lot of mental issues going on, as was shown with him wearing eyeliner, cross-dressing.
Never happened, not true. It was a fake story from 4chan, and you know it. And I feel like Marjorie Taylor Greene is a phenomenon that could have been prevented with a high enough dose of Valtrex, but...
Probably in about 4 or 5 generations, no one will be straight anymore. Everyone will be either gay or trans or non-conforming or whatever the list of 50 or 60 different options there are.
And a happy Pride Month to you too, Marjorie. You vile, disgusting, yellow-headed, melted donkey from Shrek. There has to be appear to have run afoul of probably the worst woman in American politics, Marjorie Taylor Greene, the congressperson from the 14th District of Georgia. But Marjorie is busy getting sued by a group of her constituents in Georgia who believe she is ineligible to run for re-election because of her role in the attack on January 6th. According to the 14th Amendment, anyone who takes part in an insurrection or rebellion is barred from holding office. So the Green Goblin had to testify under oath for almost 4 hours where she played even dumber than she actually is. So I made a joke. I said, "Where is Will Smith when you need him?" And the audience laughed, and then so she saw it, and she decided she was going to try to get some political mileage out of this. This is what she does instead of working. She tweets. After she saw it, she tweeted, "ABC contacts my employer. This threat of violence against me by Jimmy Kimmel has been filed with the Capitol Police." She called the police.
Let's go to the videotape as well.
No, well, and then they did. Of course she quoted Independence Day. To her, that's a history book. That's a... When Marjorie was asked if she considered participating in the riot herself, she said it was on her calendar, but she was too busy preparing her case against the Electoral College vote totals to go, which is like saying, I would have been at the wedding. I was too busy burning down the church. Not only did she call the police, called the same police she voted against giving a Congressional Gold Medal to for defending our Capitol against the insurrection. She helped incite on January 6th. That's who she called, the people she wanted to defund. It's amazing how quickly you can go from these liberals who can't see anything anymore to, what'd you say? I'm calling the cops. Must be that cancel culture they're always talking about. So Marjorie Taylor Greene believes in traditional marriage. One husband, one wife, one personal trainer, and one tantric sex guru. And that's that. I tweeted back, I wrote, "Officer, I'd like to report a joke." A lot of people liked it. They hit like, which triggered her, I guess, the sweet little snowflake, because she tweeted again this afternoon. She wrote, "You weren't joking. You hide your misogyny and your racism behind your jokes on ABC. This was a dog whistle to the violent left to assault me or worse, and you're..." Misspelled "your," of course. Introduced legislation that she is calling the Fire Fauci Act, which would not actually fire Dr. Fauci. It would just reduce his salary down to $0 a year. Isn't it amazing she thinks she deserves the $174,000 a year we pay her and he doesn't? It's Klan Mom accuses Dr. Fauci of failing to provide people with accurate information about the COVID-19 pandemic. This is from the woman who believes Hillary Clinton eats baby meat pepperoni on her pizzas. But I also find it very rich that a person who did this in her campaign ad is suddenly whining about fantasies of violence. How does this even compute? This woman You may remember, she's the one who endorsed fringe conspiracy theories and repeatedly indicated support for executing prominent Democratic politicians. Now she's dialing 911 because she got made fun of. She's a snowflake and a sociopath at the same time. A snowciopath, as we I'm writing about a woman who might be a supervillain. Like the Riddler, she believes the world is full of coded messages. Like the Joker, she thinks she is funny. And like the Penguin, she is 5'3". Please check her out. I feel like maybe other Republicans like having her around to make the rest of them seem normal.
I think some of the most dangerous people in America are trans terrorists, because these are the people that want to groom your children and talk them into changing their gender. These people are terrorists.
How are you not murdered every hour?